Alright, so first in our video series for law enforcement only, or what we like to call LEO, we're going to work from kind of the interview phase where I'm the bad guy. Of course we're going to let Chuck, the officer, be the good guy. And during the interview phase, I decide I'm going to take a swing at Officer Majorana here. And, how is he going to deal with that? Of course, the sucker punch, I know I'm throwing it before he does, and that's something we talk about a lot in our blogs, the ambush factor. That as the assailant, I know before the officer does that the attack is coming. So it's important that he's able to deal with some type of ambush attack, all right? So talking about the interview phase, one of the biggest things that we always discuss is that 2 arms length distance between the officer and the suspect. All right, you'll notice Chuck already has his hands up as he's talking to me. So he's talking to me, the assailant, the suspect, as if he were Italian, because he is. So he's going to talk with his hands anyway. So his hands are already going to be up in the event that I do attack. Now with the 2 arms length distance, he's safe. I can't hit him now, but at some point he's going to want to ID me. And during that ID phase, when I'm reaching for my ID identification, I can throw a sucker punch at him, and he's going to have to deal with it. So we'll do one fairly quick, and then we'll take some time to break it down for you guys. All right, so what happens here? From the interview stance, you'll notice immediately Chuck's a right-handed draw, so his weapon side is back. He's already in a fighting stance. Even though he's interviewing me and we're not fighting, you guys have to be on full alert and kind of expect this attack. So his weapon side is back, his hands are up, he's already prepared for a fight, just in the event something happens. So he asked me for my ID, I'm compliant at this point, I reach for my ID, and when I go to throw the punch, he sees it coming. Now, we'll pause right here. You'll see what he did is he swum in on me, right? He's diving into a pool, and his hands are going from my shoulders to my bicep. This way, he's inside the power of the punch. His head is safe, everything's safe. Now, from the weapon side, his weapon side arm is going to swim under my armpit and across my back, so that now his weapon is behind us, and there's no way I'm going to be able to reach and go for that weapon. Most likely course of events, I'm going to hold onto his head and try to throw a punch here. Now, he's clasping his hands. So I'm going to turn a little bit here so you can see this, because this is going to be important. The hand that comes across the front of my body is gripping the back hand, because I may try to get away, and now I'm locked in here. If you were to grip the other way with the back hand gripping the front hand, I might be able to pry out of there. So important detail here, the front hand is going to grab the back hand, so I'm locked in. Now, as I'm trying to punch the officer here, he's going to suck his hands in, folding my body in half and making me very, very weak. As I'm falling, he simply steps over my body, right to the mounted position. Feet go in, he's activating his hips here. His knees are very, very light on the floor. His hands are spread out. There's a lot of weight on me, all right? And we cover this mount position in other videos. But from an officer standpoint, we need to get them in cuffs from there. That's going to be the next video. But let's get through this first, all right? So when you guys are practicing this, we want to make sure you're practicing it safely. And of course, when it's time to execute it in the street, we want to make sure you're executing it safely. So I want to take a little bit of time to focus on the descent, the fall, the actual takedown part of it, on how to keep me, the practice partner, safe, and how to keep the officer who's executing the technique, practicing the technique, safe as well. So once we get to this clinch here, we'll shoot it from a few different aspects. But as the bad guy, I'm going to be holding on, all right? When he bends my spine, it's important that I don't fall in his hands and break his hands. So there's 2 things he's going to do. As I start to fall, he's taking a step towards my head. You can actually see he's supporting me at this point, right? Now as I start to fall, look at how he opens his hands and releases me. All right? It's like a trap door that I fall through. So when you're practicing this with your partner, 2 things. You're going to take that step towards my head, and as I start to fall, and you're going to be able to feel your partner falling, gravity's going to take over, you open your hands, all right? Because once gravity takes over, I'm not going to magically levitate back up. I am going to fall. So if we get here, It has the grip. Now, when he pulls and he feels my body fold, he's going to take a step. And look at him already falling. He opens his hands and allows me to fall. All right, so this is going to keep the officer's hands safe because, of course, in the street, you don't want the suspect to land on your hands and wrists and you know, wind up with a broken bone. And from my perspective as the bad guy during training, by holding on to him, I'm going to be able to control my descent to the ground and not, you know, not smash off of the training surface that we're on. So, little detail there on the actual takedown part. 2 arms length distance. At this point, I'm compliant. I reach for my ID and I throw a punch. He swims in. Pause. Come back for me. He swims in, right? You notice how he's on my shoulders and then he slides out to my biceps. He's making these little hooks with his hands so that I can't retract these punches. So he's not just blocking a punch. He's blocking and stopping future punches here. So I can't pull away from him. Now the weapon side arm swims underneath my armpit across my back. There's no way of me reaching this weapon now. His front hand comes and grabs the back hand. His hips are very tight here, so I can't strike him in the groin. Now he pulls his hands in, which bends my spine. I'm already falling. He's using his head to drive me towards the floor. He steps to the mounted position. The hooks go in. He activates his hips. He's pushing them in. There's a lot of pressure here. His arms are spread out. I'm not comfortable. All right. We have videos in some of our other playlists that talk about controlling the mount. I'll put a link in this video so you guys can easily find that. All right. So one more time. During the suspect interview, his weapon side is back. His hands are up. All right. He's interviewing me with his hands up. As he IDs me, I decide I'm going to attack. I throw the punch, he swims inside. He stuffs the punch, makes little hooks on my tricep, so I can't pull away now. Weapon side, back. I can't reach the weapon. He's already gripping his hands here, right? Front is gripping back. Now, as he pulls his hands in, it bends my spine, making me very weak. He's using his head to drive me to the floor. Hooks are in, hands are out, and now it's very difficult, if not impossible, for me, the suspect, to get out from underneath there. Going to be very, very simple for him to get the compliance at this point and get me into the cuff, which is going to be our next video.